My name is Gordon Martell. I'm a member of the Waterhen Lake Cree First Nation, and I've been a long-time educator in the community. Through the invitation of Bishop Mark, I helped to develop an accountable structure for the Diocese of Saskatoon to engage with the process of the Indigenous Reconciliation Fund. Together, we developed what we call the Discernment Circle, which is comprised of elders and knowledge keepers, survivors, and people engaged in local Indigenous and church communities. The Discernment Circle serves as an accountable entity to ensure our participation in the IRF advantages Indigenous community voice and participation. We came together in prayer and ceremony to make sense of the opportunity that we had to effect positive change and to seek guidance in making the best decisions possible. Guided by the concepts of covenant and treaty, we developed a covenant statement that we hope tells the story of our good intentions that we put into the process and our commitment to reconciliation. The Discernment Circle developed 3 themes that guide our deliberations. Hagemoen, or being human, is about reconnecting people with their histories, languages, and cultural teachings. Matnamatuin, or sharing with one another, aims to enhance access to supports for people experiencing food insecurity, housing shortages, mental health crises, addictions, or underemployment. And finally, Nantawihuin, or healing, prioritizes spiritual and emotional healing. A smaller group of Discernment Circle members came together to form the Granting Committee, who developed an accountable process to receive requests for IRF funding, to seek consensus on those project applications from the Discernment Circle, and to make recommendations for funding to the IRF. The Discernment Circle and Granting Committee meet regularly to facilitate the process of adjudicating requests to the fund. We also support parishes who are seeking information about the diocesan process. In our first year of operation, we funded 7 projects totaling over $250,000. The initiatives included fostering reconciliation among diverse peoples, supporting the protection and proliferation of Indigenous languages, providing cultural supports for children and families, and providing supports to those experiencing the intergenerational effects of residential schools. We certainly couldn't do what we do without those who choose to support the fund and the organizations that are delivering services in the community. We invite applications to the fund, especially from Indigenous communities and organizations that address the intergenerational effects of residential schools or that support the development of Indigenous languages and cultures. My dad was a residential school survivor, and it's his legacy that motivates my participation in this process. I want to ensure that we make the greatest impact on the greatest number of people over the course of our mandate. If we all do our part, we can help to change the narrative so that the children and youth of today live healthy, balanced, and fulfilling lives.
Brothers and sisters in Christ, it has now been about a year and a half since Pope Francis's visit to Canada last year, which he called Walking Together. This pilgrimage of forgiveness and healing followed on the apologies from the Canadian Conference of Catholic Bishops and Pope Francis's apology at the Vatican. A key feature of an expression of sorrow and commitment towards the journey of reconciliation and healing is our collective $30 million Indigenous Reconciliation Fund, raised and allocated over 5 to 7 years. This fund is a federally incorporated, not-for-profit, registered charity with its own independent board of directors. All directors are Indigenous. As of today, the IRF Fund has approved over 90 projects across Canada. Dioceses and their Indigenous partners discern local Indigenous reconciliation needs and opportunities and apply directly to the IRF for funding. Here in the Diocese of Saskatoon, efforts began to form the IR Fund Discernment Circle in May 2022. The circle has included up to 19 members, the majority Indigenous members. The co-chairs are also Indigenous. The 4 general project areas supported by this fund are highlighted in the Truth and Reconciliation calls to action addressed to churches and their efforts at reconciliation. The first pillar are projects emphasizing healing and reconciliation for communities and families. The second area are culture and language revitalization projects. The third area focus on education and community building. And the fourth area are dialogues for promoting Indigenous spirituality and culture. The work of the Discernment Circle will be conducted within the following principles. Number 1, Indigenous peoples. Authentic participation and inclusion of Indigenous peoples in all aspects of the initiative. Secondly, Indigenous paradigms. Projects and collaborations will advantage Indigenous theory, principles, practices, and cultures. Thirdly, collaboration. Wherever possible, projects and collaborations will align with and add value to community initiatives, participate in collaborative funding tables, and avoid replication of existing services. Fourthly, sustainability. Preference will be given to projects and collaborations that demonstrate capacity for sustainability. Fifthly, accountability. The Indigenous Reconciliation Fund will demonstrate accountability to the Canada Not-for-Profit Corporations Act. Projects and collaborations will identify service delivery levels and demonstrate measurable impact through qualitative and quantitative measures. Sixthly, ethical approach. Projects and collaborations will be guided by integrity and align with Mio Pimatsuin regarding good behavior, good life, and Catholic social teachings. And 7, transparency. Beliefs, actions, and outcomes will be visible to stakeholders, and the initiative will invite the scrutiny of funders, peers, and the community. The actions of the Discernment Circle will align with national funding priorities and guidelines. I conclude my comments pointing out that all of our presentation and information will be housed on our diocesan website, and this will be informative to potential applicants. I encourage all potential organizations to consider applying to this fund. I take this opportunity to thank you all for your love and faithfulness to God and His people and to our common commitment to journey together. In the words of Pope Francis, who sums up this journey as follows, "It is not easy to walk together, but it is possible.